ஹாய் ஹலோ அண்ட் வணக்கம் தமிழ் நேயர்களே, நான் தான் உங்கள் ஆஷ். பொதுவாகவே நம்ம ஊரில் சொல்லுவாங்க, வீட்டை கட்டிப்பாரு கல்யாணத்தை பண்ணிப்பாருன்னு கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கேன். நான் வீடு கட்டுறதுங்கிறது ஒரு சாதாரண விஷயமே கிடையாது. அதுவும் இன்றைய காலகட்டத்தில் இப்படி ஒரு கோவிட் பேண்டமிக் சிச்சுவேஷனில் நம்ம எல்லாருமே வாழ்க்கையை எப்படி முன்னாடி கொண்டு போகிறது அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு யோசனையில் இருக்கோம். பல பேர் இந்த வருஷம் நான் நல்ல ஒரு வீடு கட்டி வீடு மாறி போகணும், இல்லை சொந்தமாக ஒரு வீடு கட்டணும் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு யோசனையில் இருந்திருப்போம். ஆனால் இந்த ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷனில் அதை எப்படி ஹேண்டில் பண்ணுறது, இல்லை எப்படி யார்கிட்ட போய் எப்படி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுறது இந்த ப்ராசஸை அப்படின்னு பல கேள்விகள் நம்மளுக்குள்ளே இருக்கும். ஸோ இந்த கேள்விகளுக்கு எல்லாமே பதில் சொல்றதுக்காக நம்ம கூட ரெண்டு ஸ்பெஷல் கெஸ்ட்ஸ் வந்திருக்காங்க. ஸோ வித்வுட் எனி ஃபர்தர் அட்யூ, let me welcome Mr. Josh Cunningham and Mr. Chad Simons. வணக்கம்.
வணக்கம்.
Now, for our viewers, Josh is the sales manager of Hermitage Homes, and he's been in this property industry for almost 7 years. Hermitage Homes has been in this property market and building homes and for families and for investors since 1997. So thank you so much for accepting our invite and being with us here today, Josh. And about Chad, he is the principal of Exceed Property Groups. Chad's been in the industry for more than 10 years, and his group actually specializes of the property solutions for their customers. So welcome both to our show. Thank you so much for being with us today. Chad, let me start the question with you. Can you please shed some light on the different policies the government has for new property owners?
Certainly, Ash. I'm happy to do that. It's a really fantastic opportunity, firstly, to get into the property market as a first home buyer. Mm-hmm. We currently have 3 unique government schemes available that can be leveraged at the moment. First being the Home Builder Scheme, which has just been recently announced. For $25,000.
Okay.
That has to be basically you need to be committed to a builder by the 31st of December 2020 to be eligible for that.
Yep.
Secondly, we have our current home buyers grant.
Yep.
So for regional areas that can be up to the value of $20,000, and for metropolitan Melbourne $10,000.
Okay.
And thirdly, we also have the actual incentives on stamp duty savings for first home buyers as well. So you've got the stamp duty concessions. So what that means is, for example, basically where stamp duty currently applies on it, if you're buying a house and land package for the land value of up to $350,000, you're basically looking at around approximately $13,500 in savings on stamp duty savings.
Now Josh, you are a builder, and can you please explain to me who is eligible for this particular grant, and also the regional and the metro grants available?
Yeah, of course. There's a few things that the government stipulated with these grants. You have to be an Australian citizen is the key important thing. You have to be over 18 years of age. You have to provide your taxable income. So it's for a couple it's $200,000, and for a single it's $125,000. And the house and land contract price has to be no more than $750,000 to be eligible for the $25,000.
So in total?
Correct, exactly. Yeah. So as Chad pointed out before, there's a number of things that people need to do in regards to getting in touch with the builder now, and we have to start construction within 3 months of the contract being signed. So what that means for us is we've had to put in a number of different policies to make sure that we're starting construction within that 3-month period, because for a lot of builders it is very difficult. And in relation to the first home buyer grants that Chad was talking about, in the Melbourne metro area, the first home buyer grant is a state government grant, whereas the $25,000 is a federal government grant.
Okay.
Now with the first home buyer grant, it's $10,000 in metro areas, so in all Melbourne metro it's $10,000, and in regional locations it's $20,000. And the beauty of that is if you're buying in Geelong or Lara or Ballarat or something like those areas, you're getting an additional $20,000 on top of the government grant, the new build grant that they're offering.
Okay, so that's interesting to know, because if you are a first time buyer, you are still eligible for both the grants. Is that right?
And that's something that first home buyers have really got to take an opportunity
advantage of.
Today's the day for them.
Yeah.
And what they need to do is speak to companies like Chad about getting in touch with them and finding out how they can take advantage of not just the new build grant that's new now, and take advantage of the first home buyer grant.
Which has already been there.
Exactly right.
Okay.
So with that, you're just combining the grants as well as the stamp duty savings and things. So
Excellent.
as an example, with stamp duty savings, with the first home buyer grant and with the new build grant, you're looking at anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 in government grants, and then in addition you've got builder and land rebates that you're able to get. So it is a fantastic time for people to be looking, and I think what the government has done on stimulating the economy is definitely working.
Absolutely. I guess that's a great saving, isn't it?
Of course.
For someone who's investing for the first time in their life.
Yeah. And if I could just add to that, Ash, too, just to carry on, just one thing I wanted to emphasise with that too, with this opportunity, in particular as a with the 25,000 home builder, it's really important to align yourself with a builder that's going to be able to commit to being on site within the 3 months of signing that build contract, because that's all part of the criteria. So it's very important that any first home buyer is confident whomever they build with can meet that obligation. And working through a company like myself and working very closely with a builder like Josh and Hermitage Homes, the processes are there in place to be able to achieve that for clients. I just wanted to highlight that.
And it is one of the key factors in it. You have to start construction within 3 months of the contract.
Now let me put this question to both of you, because you mentioned that one of the eligibility criteria is you have to be a citizen. How about permanent residents? There are a lot of permanent residents living in Australia. So how does this...
I think that there's a couple of things that are still coming out, but as of now, all of the rules and regulations that we can see, you have to be an Australian citizen. So if you're a permanent resident, you're not eligible as of this time. As of now, it's purely just an Australian citizen.
Okay, so say if a couple, they have to buy their first home, and one of them is a permanent resident and the other person is a citizen, and does that mean they will not be eligible for this grant at the moment, or is the government looking at reviewing that scheme?
Sure. Look, at the moment it is Australian citizens only. However, the State Revenue Office is currently exploring that. There has been a lot of questions regarding that scenario. I've actually spoken to the State Revenue Office, and they've basically advised to keep in contact with their website and all the updates that will be coming over the next coming weeks regarding those particular, aspects that they're trying to iron out with their procedures at the moment.
Okay, so have you received call from permanent residents who wants to know about these grants? And
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's a very big interest amongst permanent residents regarding this. So it has gone to the State Revenue Office, and they're busy exploring those options as we speak.
All right, and I hope that the government comes up with some sort of levy for the permanent residents as well.
Let's hope so.
Josh, now you were mentioning about all the the different schemes from government. Apart from government, are there any other initiatives from builders and landowners?
Look, I think it's an extremely important thing to be talking about as well, because not only is the government coming to the party, so to speak, with offering these fantastic initiatives and incentives, land developers are also doing that, as well as builders. So there's $10,000 rebates with land developers that are out there. So again, you add that on to what the government's doing, and then there's a promotion that Hermitage is offering. So we understand that going through this situation has been difficult for a lot of people. So what we've wanted to do is we have a promotion which we're calling Pay Your Rent While Under Construction. And essentially what's happening is we will rebate $10,200 back to the client while the house is under construction. And the reason we're doing that is if you're a first home buyer and paying rent, it's very difficult. You're essentially paying a mortgage and you're paying rent at the same time. So what we're wanting to do is make it a little bit easier for people to make that purchase. And again, it just adds volume to the incentives that are on offer. So there's huge opportunities for anyone that are looking to enter into the market at this point in time.
What I do want to stress, though, that those incentives won't be around forever. There's extra incentives at the moment due to COVID-19, so it's really important to take advantage of that. On the land rebate side of it as well, yes, as Josh mentioned, there is up to $10,000 rebates on certain developments. However, just bear in mind that the interest has grown enormously over the last couple of weeks with all of these incentives becoming available, and the key is titled land is not going to be easy to come by. It's selling fairly quickly, so just bear that in mind. Even though this is available until the 31st, title land's not always going to be available when you're looking. So it's
this is the time to act.
Time to act.
to add to that, I think the initiatives that came out on Thursday last week that the government brought out from Monday, I think there was something like 9,000 or 12,000 applicants within that period.
Wow.
So within a 4 to 5 day period, you've got 9,000, 12,000 applicants.
Yeah.
In addition to that, there's locations that have run out of titled stock. They don't have any more titled stock. So if people think that they can wait to the 31st, I just don't know if that's going to be the case, because the titled stock that's there, the registered lots that people can start construction on within that 3-month period is rather limited, and is getting more and more scarce, as you can imagine.
Now, Chad, as we were speaking about the scarcity of titled blocks, I know you specialize in finding the right land for customers. So can you please explain to us about how a customer could go about finding a land?
Certainly, Ash. So I work with a number of land developers all over Victoria, from many estates in the western suburbs, the northern suburbs and the southeastern suburbs. So there is still quite a considerable amount of titled land available. However, as Josh and I mentioned earlier, it is selling very quickly since these schemes become available. So the best thing to do would be to get in contact with somebody like myself to understand your needs, understand your budget, and to put you in contact with a good mortgage broker to be able to understand your borrowing capacity. From there, we can ascertain exactly what type of home you can afford, number one, understand the areas that you're most interested in living in, and from there I can work very closely with Hermitage Homes to basically come together and put together a number of options for you that will meet your needs. And together with Hermitage Homes, we will then go through that process with you.
I think that the important thing for people to note throughout this whole period with these schemes is that typically first home buyers and people have a lot of time. They can go around and they can do a number of different shops, and they can see different home builders and those sort of things. Because time is limited and land is going to be limited, I think the important thing is to realise that you're wanting to enter the market now. Now is a fantastic time to enter into the market. If you look at property cycles through a number of different pandemics or financial crises, the property market has always continued to grow. So when you look at when is the best time to enter the market, it's always today if you've got the ability to do so. So I think that that's what people have to understand, is they have to understand that land is going to become scarce. The ability to shop around is going to be limited.
Absolutely.
And then you're going to have to work with a builder that can actually meet all of the deadlines.
And get the work done.
Exactly.
To get the maximum benefit of your grants.
Correct.
It's all a process, and that it all has to align, and to align yourself really with somebody that can look after your end-to-end of the whole transition, from inquiring about house and land to assisting with the loan for house and land, to then finding the right product and then working with the right builder to build it in the right time frames is extremely important. And that's where, between myself and Josh, we can really assist in doing so.
Now, Josh, can you please explain to me, how is this going to benefit renovators? Like, say if I want to renovate my home, is this grant going to be helpful at all? Or?
Yeah, I think it's going to be helpful, but I also think it's going to be somewhat difficult for people to take real advantage of it.
Okay.
The renovation process works is as long as you have or are spending more than $150,000 on your renovations, that makes you eligible for the $25,000 grant. In most cases, most people aren't spending $125,000 for a renovation of a home, so it can become rather difficult. But in saying that, there's two parts to the renovation side of it. If you're doing a knockdown rebuild of a property, so if you're purchasing a property in a suburbs and you're knocked down and you're
like a complete demolition.
Doing a complete demolition of one property and then rebuilding another, then you have the ability to apply for the grant up to $1.5 million. But typically with renovators, it's going to be rather hard because, as I said, renovating your house for $150,000, you're nearly buying 3/4 of the property.
And I also I read somewhere that for renovation, if I want to just build a tennis court or if I want to just build a pool, it's not going to, the scheme is not going to be available for me. So
I don't believe that's going to be the case. I think that there'd be a lot of people take advantage of the grant, but it's more about stimulating the economy and getting people back to work and things like that. So I don't believe that you'll be able to do any tennis courts or
pools. Now, Chad, can you please tell me if investors get any benefits out of this particular scheme at all?
Sure, Ash. The short answer is no. Property investors do not get any benefits out of this scheme. It's purely for home buyers and home purchasers, so it purely applies to obviously your first home buyers and also second and third home buyers who are going to be moving into that property. So providing it's your primary place of residence, that's what the scheme's applicable for. Certainly not for investors, unfortunately.
Okay, so say if I already own a home and I want to invest in another home, then this scheme is not available. However, if I have the plans to move into that home, does the scheme apply at all, or?
Yes, so providing that it's going to be your primary place of residence, so you're going to live in that home and move into that home, the scheme would apply, but you need to be able to live in that home. So if you're planning to build it with the intent of
moving into
it, that's fine.
Okay, all right. I think that clarifies.
Primary place of residence basically is what it's all about.
Okay.
And I believe that if you were looking to relocate and move into the property, you'd have to be living in there for a minimum of 12 months.
12 months. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now we know that it's not available for the investors, this grant. How about if I want to build or if I want to buy an apartment? What is the possibility that I would get this grant?
Yeah, I think it's extremely difficult. Look, from a home builder point of view, I'm fairly biased. I want people to own and build homes. But I think it's going to be fairly difficult for people to get this grant with apartments. It's definitely achievable. But the major factor of it is if you sign a contract, you have to start construction within 3 months. That can be very difficult for apartments. Like you can sign a contract now and they not start construction for 2 years in some cases. So I think it is going to be difficult. It's more aligned towards the home builder section. But as I said, there is opportunities out there where people are starting construction sooner than that.
So say, this probably might be a little bit of a cheeky question. So if I have signed a contract to buy an apartment in 2019, and if the construction starts this year, do you think would be available for the grant at all? No.
Unfortunately not, because the grant stipulates that it has to be between June 4th and December 31st, 2020. So obviously 2019 doesn't fit into that.
It doesn't count at all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I guess the one thing I will say about apartments too, if you are planning to go down that path, just to do all your due diligence around that because of that 3-month window, because there are a lot of factors that influence when construction of an apartment complex actually takes place. So I would suggest either buying into an apartment complex where potentially construction's about to start or soon to start, because if it's still in the pre-sales phase, you might be very unlikely that meet that particular window. So that would be a bit high risk. So just ask the right questions, do your due diligence in regards to when that start date is and where that's at before you go ahead and sign a contract of force, something like that.
That's where they should be picking up the phone and calling you.
Absolutely.
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 I think that clarifies a lot of questions for people who are looking to buy apartments, because not everybody would love to, build a big home. Now, let me put this question to both of you. How do we go about getting this grant? So how do I, as a customer, how do I start applying for this grant, and how do I go about this process?
Sure. So this is where I think XC Property Group can certainly assist again. First steps would be to substantiate your lending. So basically you'd work with your lender or mortgage broker to assist with that process, and as part of that loan application, they would also assist with the application for these particular grants on your behalf. What we can do is, if you don't have a mortgage broker, we can assist with, we work very closely with a particular mortgage broker that we can facilitate that process with you. However, that'll be the first point of call.
All right, and from there, the mortgage broker or the banker would help the customer to avail this the scheme or the grant, or?
Absolutely. So they will, as part of that process and part of the loan application process, they will also do the relevant applications on behalf of the client for the particular grants at the same time as part of the whole process.
Okay, all right.
Correct.
Now, Josh, as we were speaking, you said there are a lot of applicants, already, and also inquiries coming through. So, how are you handling? And as Hermitage Homes, how's the pressure that's?
Look, it's been somewhat overwhelming to a degree.
Yeah.
The amount of inquiries that's coming through has been fantastic from our point of view. It's better to be busy than not to be busy.
Yes.
We've been in a very fortunate position at Hermitage Homes that we've not had to have reduced our staff or anything through the COVID period. So for us to be able to exceed on these jobs and making sure we're hitting our commitments and making sure that we're achieving the milestones of getting to site and starting construction within 3 months, we're very confident of that because we haven't had to reduce our numbers. In addition to that, we've done a number of things to slightly adjust our process. Our process is fairly tight in that regard, and we're always making sure that we're getting to site rather quickly. But now we've had to slightly adjust it to make sure that we're guaranteeing that we're hitting those milestones. So in addition with Chad and things like that, we want to make sure that it's as streamlined as possible. So we've got a certain amount of colours, so we have 4 colour boards that you can choose from. We have a number of different designs that you can choose from. We can choose timber or tiles. There's a raft of different things that buyers can that they can allocate towards their house. So for us, it's been a fairly smooth process. We haven't had to change too much, which is great. And obviously we've got the staff to be able to handle all of the inquiries, which is good.
Yeah, because I did notice that you mentioned one of the criteria is the building has to start, the construction has to start within the 3-month period. So is it after, so say if I sign the contract before 31st of December, does that mean the construction also has to start before the 31st of December, or it's just the contract that has to be signed?
So it's just the contract that has to be signed at the 31st. It's ensuring that we start construction within that 3-month period. The thing that, as we've sort of mentioned, the thing that we have to be conscious of, and buyers have to be conscious of, is there going to be any titled land on the 31st of December? That's going to be the biggest thing, and then from there, everyone's going to have the huge question mark of, is the government going to continue it? We don't know, so don't wait.
and I guess it's very important to go to the right people to actually start the work. Otherwise, you could sign a contract with anybody, and,
of course.
And if you're not able to start the work within that 3-month period, then there's no point in actually getting into it, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And Hermitage has built a fantastic reputation. We've been in the industry now for over 20 years. Last year we were the HIA Most Professional Home Builder in Victoria in the medium size. So we've won a number of awards. We are well recognised within the industry. We've been here for a long time. And those things are something that we really pride ourselves on. So working with the right people like Chad and aligning yourselves with the right builders is extremely important. And for us, we want to make sure that whilst this may be your first home or your second home, we hope that it's the first with Hermitage, but we build many, many more for you. So
absolutely,
we want to make sure that our experiences.
So Josh is the man to go for.
I can vouch for that.
Josh, if I come to you as a customer, would I get a definite answer that yes, this application is going through, or no, you will not be able to build within this particular?
Yeah, obviously working with Chad and things like that on making sure that they're applying through the banks and doing all the necessary things. But from our point of view on making sure that we're starting construction from a 3-month time of signing the contract, our answer is yes. So again, we've put our processes in place to make sure that we can achieve those milestones. For other builders, it may be a little bit difficult. They may not have the resources or whatever it is. But we've got the resources, we've got our process in place, and we can guarantee that we'll be starting within
definitely
3 months.
done. Perfect. That's amazing to know though.
And I'll be, I generally am a bit of a pain in their back sometimes because I definitely keep them on their toes. And
just get
Josh,
it done.
what's going on here? How we're going? How we're tracking? So I'm also, on behalf of the client, also making sure that the process is running smoothly in the background as well, and doing a lot of chase-ups and follow-ups on behalf of the customer that they normally wouldn't necessarily have to do themselves.
Chad, now I have built my own home, and I know how much of a difficult process it's been for me.
Bit of a headache.
Exactly. So it took almost like 6 to 8 months for me to sort of finalize everything and get it done. So if I come to Exceed Group, how can you help a customer in to help me understand this is my this is what I need and this is what has to be done, and can you please explain to me about it?
Yeah, certainly. Look, it's what we pride ourselves on. So basically we provide an end-to-end service for a customer. So a lot of the customers that come to us do need a little bit of hand-holding, if you like, and a bit
Yes.
of guidance. So we really take them through the whole journey.
Yeah.
So firstly, by really understanding their needs, that's the most important thing. We'll listen to the customer. We understand what their needs are. We work with them, with the lending institutions or broker, to understand what their budgets are firstly. So we firstly need to understand what their capacity is and what their capability is. From there, it's really important then we have really solid relationships with builders like Hermitage Homes, understand their products, and we have very strong relationships with the land developers. So you need both of those two things to work well. You need good land developers where you have good relationships, where you can go to them to secure premium blocks for your clients, which we've got that relationship to do, and secondly, to be able to negotiate good rebates and conditions and terms for our clients to purchase. That's number one. Number two, it's all about the product. We then will work with the client once we understand their budget to really go through some of the key requirements that they need in their home and really tailor the package with the builder to meet that match. So we'll come back to you as a client with 2 or 3 different options in the areas that suit your budget, number one, and the area that you prefer to live in, to really ease that process. So it stops you from having to go to so many display homes, talk to so many different builders, so many different people, which really just, I find from my experience, just confuses the matter even more.
It's excruciating.
Leave it with us. We'll do all that legwork for you based on the relationships and the experience that we have, and really make it as smooth as process as possible. That's the real advantage for you. It also saves you from doing a lot of running around because we've got the connections. We know where the good land is. We know where where most of the rebates are being held. We know where all the title blocks are, and we've got the capacity to go to the developer and say, "Can you please put that on hold for me?" Because we've got the relationship with them to do that. So it also helps you secure good land because we have the relationship to secure it for you.
Because even as a customer, I was, it was really difficult for me to actually secure the land that I wanted, and then, was really extremely confused with the, I have this budget, but then there are so many options available. So, where do I go? What to do? So I guess you take the headache
away, and keep it nice and clear. And what's really important too is that we pride ourselves on fixed price. So the builders that we work with in Hermitage Homes are very good at this. Is that we provide you with a fixed price contract, so there's no hidden surprises. Okay, so basically once you sign a bill contract and you know exactly what that price is, that's what the price is. There won't be any hidden surprises. Number two, the banks also love that because it's a fixed price and everything's included. It works very easily from a lending perspective for you. So as a first home buyer, or any home buyer for that matter, it makes that process nice and clean and simple with no real complications.
It gives that peace of mind,
Gives you that peace of mind.
Josh, now what is the difference between a turnkey package and a land and construction package?
I think it's super important for everybody to know. So with the normal land and construction package, there's things that aren't necessarily in the contract from the start. There's things like site costs that aren't in there, fencing, landscaping, driveways. They're all additional add-ons that you usually have to go through and get those prices at a later date. With the turnkey package, what we provide is we provide everything, what we say is from the mailbox to the clothesline and everything in between. So the blinds, the driveways, the landscaping, the fencing, everything that you need within a property to move in on that day, to be fully turnkey, so to speak. On the day of handover, you can essentially move in. So all of the inclusions are in there and everything like that. What sometimes people find is that whilst our price, because we are turnkey, may be slightly higher than a normal display village home or something like that, when you actually go through and add in all of those inclusions, we're usually a lot cheaper. But it's because those inclusions aren't necessarily outlined within the contract at the starting price. So sometimes people will give you a from price and we're giving you a fixed price. As Chad said, banks are loving the fact that it's turnkey. They know the things that are included in there. They know that they can loan as of the time we give them that contract. Whereas with a normal land and construction, they can't. And they can't actually provide the approval of the loan until the very final contract, because you're adding in all of the things. You're adding in the colour selection, you're adding in the 6-star energy ratings, you're adding in the site costs. And all of this, mind you, all of this takes a lot more time. And that's, again, one of the most important factors is that we're turnkey, we've got all of the inclusions that you need, and we can get there.
And I'm sure you'll have different options as well.
Of course, absolutely.
For the customers,
And what I really love is the... and that reassurance for my customers too is the fixed site cost. That's another big one. So, there's been many occasions, including through my own building experiences, where the builder might hit rock and there's an extra $10,000 to $15,000 in site costs that occur. So you can be reassured as well that that doesn't occur with a fixed price contract, because all that is taken into consideration.
Mr. Josh and Mr. Chad, thank you so much for being with us today in the studio, discussing about all the the different schemes and grants available for our viewers.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I'm pretty sure all the information that you have shared with us will be really useful for all our viewers. And we hope to see you soon again in the studio in another show.
On behalf of Josh and myself, we'd just like to say a big thank you to 3 Tamil Channel for allowing us this wonderful opportunity to join you and to answer these questions regarding the grants.
Yeah, fantastic. From Chad and myself, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Thank you to 3 Tamil. We look forward to hopefully building your home soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Pleasure.